All right, so let's talk about how to create a foundation. And that's going to start with learning classics. First, you want to make sure that you and your client are both comfortable. Make sure that the environment itself is appropriate. No loud music, good smells, and no children or adults in the background being too loud and running around. If this does happen, make sure to have a door that can close to sound out all the noise. Make sure to let them know what to expect during their appointment. Typically, you're doing this whenever you're doing their consultation. Now, when it's time to lash, you want to make sure that you and your client are comfortable enough on the bed itself. They have their blanket, they have their music, they have comfy clothes, and all that good stuff. So, when it's time for them to lay on the bed, you want to make sure they come straight to your chest so you're not having to hunch over to reach to them. You don't want to have to experience any pulling on your back that's going to cause any strain, eventually hurting yourself. Having good posture will also help you over time and proper placement during the process as well. Okay, now that it's time to lash, you want to make sure that you place a napkin on the client's forehead. This is to help practice proper sanitation. My favorite napkins are the Viva lashes. You can find them at any local store in town. Now you're going to wash your client's lashes. Soap and water. Originally, you will see me use lip applicators, but in the future videos, you will see me use a brush. And I will also show you how to disinfect them in the disinfectant video for the tweezers as well. Okay, so now that you've washed the client's lashes, you're going to rinse their lashes off. You're going to rinse their lashes off with warm water. When you rinse the lashes with the warm water, you also want to make sure that the water is actually warm and not too hot, nor is it too cold. Because if it's too cold, it'll kind of give them a shock of sensation and they'll kind of tense up a little bit. But when it's warm and it's right, they really won't jump. They'll just know that it's coming. And you'll just let them know, okay, about to rinse your lashes off. This side, once you're done with that side, dry it off. Then you let them know, okay, we're going to the other side to rinse it off as well. Now, once it's done being rinsed off, you're going to get your fan and you're just going to dry away any necessary water that needs to be taken away. One thing that I have learned is if you don't dry their lashes and they have like that little bit of water still sitting there, that water and that tape does not mix. So that tape will eventually slide off of the bottom lashes, resulting in lashes from the top being stuck to lashes to the bottom. So make sure that you go back in with your fan so you can dry their lashes off. Okay, so now that you've washed your client's lashes, you're going to tape your client down. When you tape your client down, try your best to focus on only using 2 pieces of tape, 3 at the most, and make sure the tape is okay with them when they close their eyes. Now, when their eyes are closed, it is very important that you still make sure the tape looks good on your end and also on their end as well, because you don't want the tape to be too far up to cause corneal abrasion or too far down to where the lashes are going to get stuck together during the process of the application. Now, you will see me use one big tape that I did rip, and then I ripped it into half. And so then I'm going to put each side of tape on one part of the lashes. You'll see me pull it down my finger and then tape it down. And then you'll see me do that same thing on the other side. I do it at an angle. That way I'm able to get all the lashes on one side and then at another angle to get the lashes on the other side. Try not to get all the lashes in one tape motion. That way you're not feeling overwhelmed. You're going to focus on one side with one tape and the other side with the other tape. And then I'm going to adjust it just a little bit just to make sure that it's not too hot up. And then also ask her how does everything feel. And then once that's it, then you're good to go. And now you're ready to start lashing. All right, now it's time to map your client. When this time comes to this step, you want to make sure that you're getting the correct style. The style is how they're wanting it to look, via cat eye, open eye, doll eye, wispy, or wet eye. So when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're giving the correct style to match with their face and also their eye shape as well. That way, when they open their eyes, the lashes don't look too droopy or too heavy on their face and their lashes. Next, you're going to tape your client's lashes back. This is going to help gain access to inner corners that are hard to reach places, and also you'll be able to see anything that you missed whenever you were lashing without the tape as well. I like to use the clear transparency tape. It has a little bit more grip and a little bit more tug that I can use whenever I'm needed to get to those inner corners and needed places that I couldn't reach before without the tape. It also is painless when it's time to take the tape off. The client doesn't feel when it's taken off, nor does it rub any skin off of their skin as well. So this is one of my go-to tapes that I do recommend whenever you are pulling back the lashes. Okay, so now for the fun part. We are going to lash her all the way through from the right eye to the left eye. So typically I normally go from eye to eye, and that just helps with time a little bit faster. But this go around, I wanted y'all to see how both eyes will work. Yes, everybody's eyes are different. Everybody's lashes are different as well, depending on the length, the shape of their eye, if their lashes are curly, if they're downwards, if they're just completely straight. Everything's different. But with her, she has pretty good eyelashes, and there's really no stress when it's time to lash hers. But as you can see, I am going through all of the lashes to lash the lashes. As you can see, it's also mapped. So when it's mapped, that's where I'm placing that length at. The reason why I'm jumping from side to side is because the lash glue does take a little bit to dry. So to avoid any stickies or anything like that, you can just go from side to side. The links are already there, so it's really no confusion as far as what needs to be placed, where it needs to be placed. One thing that you want to make for sure that when you're doing classics or any set is that you're placing the correct diameter onto the natural lash. There will be so many that you will see, and I don't want you to become confused just because of all the numbers. But it's pretty simple. The classics that I always say you can remember is there's always a 1 in the beginning of it. So, for example, 1.5, 10, 0.12. So that will always have a 1. Another way that you can know is if you touch the fiber hairs on the classic lashes versus the volume lashes, it's a little bit thicker. So those are 2 ways that you can make sure that you're using the correct lashes and also the correct diameter itself between the volume and the classics. As you're applying the extensions, you always want to make sure that you're placing or you're practicing proper isolation on the lashes, and that you're also at least 1 mm from the lash line. So what that just means is every time that I'm placing a lash, I'm not getting too close to the lash line, so that's causing irritation, but I am close enough to make sure that the lashes are able to stay there for a good amount of time, and no new growth is going to just happen within just a week or 2, or less than a week. A couple of ways that you can practice the placement is to do side placement, top placement, or bottom placement. Typically, I like to do side placement mostly, and that's my way of wrapping the lash around the natural lash. So you can also try it like that, but like I said, top, side, or even bottom. And then as you can see right now, I'm also using this tape, my silicone tape. You should have that in your kit. It's either black or it's white. I use this tape to pull back the lashes so I'm able to get to all the layers, and also make for sure that all the lashes are not stuck together. So sometimes whenever you pull the lashes back, that's just because since you've already lashed the other lashes, it's kind of harder to see sometimes. So you just pull those lashes back, and then you'll be good to go. Another few things that you want to look out for, especially when you're doing hybrids and volumes, is making sure that the base of the lash extension doesn't have any loose hairs at the bottom. That will be known as a lift base. At that point, those little hairs that are not connected to the extension to create that seamlessly even fan, that's going to start to cause irritation because it may tickle the lash line or whatever the case may be, and it may make the client want to pull their lashes out. So you want to make sure that your bases on your volume lashes are good. While you are lashing, you also want to make sure that you're doing at least 4 rounds of separation to ensure that the lashes are properly isolated and are not sticking to each other, so they can grow properly, giving them healthy lash growth and longevity. Another way to ensure lashes are not stuck together, like I said, make for sure that you're jumping from eye to eye. You don't have to stay necessarily on that one particular eye to avoid any sticky. One thing that you can discuss with your new clients is while that you have them on the bed, you can talk to them about lash growth cycles, because lashes are not semi-permanent. They will be shedding daily throughout the week. They may not be noticeable at the time, but when they do, you want to make sure that your client is aware of it. They may not shed often, but if they do, it's always good for them to know, just so they don't panic when they see them on their pillow or when they're washing them. Typically, clients are afraid of washing their lashes because they think that they're going to fall every time, and it's not normal that they shed. A lash cycle is approximately 30 to 90 days. That includes growth lashes typically shed at least 3 to 5 daily. The lash growth cycle contains anagen, catagen, and telogen. Anagen, that's when the lashes are the finest and shortest lash. They can exist up to 2 months. So always watch the links that you're placing on these natural lashes because you don't want to place anything too heavy, causing the lashes to be damaged in the future. Catagen, end of the growth cycle in the beginning of the breakdown of the follicle. These are medium lengths and are in a resting stage. They can be resting for at least 2 months before detaching and entering the shedding phase. This is a transition phase. Telogen, final stage of the growth. It can be in a resting stage or the final stage. This lash will eventually be shedded and will be available to be placed by a new one. So, yes, you can place onto the telogen lashes, but sometimes those lashes may not even last no longer than a week just because they're probably in their last shedding phase. So, make sure that your clients are aware of this just so, like I said, they don't panic, or they are aware of it just so they can wash their lashes and let them know that that is normal. One thing that I forgot to add is make sure that you're offering patch tests at the consultation. During this patch test, you want to search for irritation, allergic reactions from the products that you are using. If a client does not have any issues within the first 48 hours or 24 to 48 hours, they are eligible for eyelash extensions. So as we're coming to the final end of the eyelash appointment, we're just going to go over a few things that we did touch base on. So you see how I'm pulling back the lashes. That's one way that you can pull them back. You also see how I pulled them up with the clear tape. That's also another way that you can pull them up. Make for sure that if you do this method, that you do check their eyes to make for sure that their eyes are not open, because you don't want them to open and then their eyes be completely red from the glue fumes that was caused when you were placing the extensions. So once we're done with this little section, I'm going to retape it again, and then once I retape it again, I'm just going to knock out a few more lashes. So we're also going to go over a couple of things that we did touch base on, and that's just the vocabulary that we talked about. Longevity, the time between applying a full set of the lash extensions and when they begin to shed, requiring a touch-up or full replacement naturally. Loose space. A loose space occurs when the blunt end of the extension fails to bond correctly with the base of the natural lashes closest to the eyelid skin. Isolation. The process of keeping one single natural lash set apart from its neighboring lash using 2 types of curved tweezers to push aside lashes on the right and left of the sequestered eyelashes. No neighboring lashes should be touching the isolated natural lash. Separation. Keep each lash apart from its neighboring lash during each step of application. A patch test is when it's conducted of no more than 5 lashes placed randomly on the lash extension. Typically, I like to do something shorter that they're not going to notice. That way, whenever they come back, they can't necessarily tell you where that the lashes were placed, so they can't say, oh, I had an irritation in this particular spot. But just make sure that you just tell them that you just placed them all over just to see where the irritation could have happened. You would only know where that would happen at. So that's just one way for me to do it. Just so they don't get kind of psyched out, I guess. And then also, last but not least, corneal abrasion. That's whenever the tape or the tweezers scrape the cornea of the eye. So that's why I said make for sure that you are double checking how the tape is sitting, just so you're not, the tape is not too high up. Because as of right now, yes, her eyes are closed, but if they were to blink, sneeze, or whatever the case may be, you don't want that tape to travel up to their eye and scratch their cornea. Always make sure to stretch, do a few knee raises, a couple of neck rolls and arm rolls, and try your abdomen and lower and upper chest as well. I have found yoga and Pilates to be a good system to have. Something lightweight and not too much sweating going on before your appointment. Okay, now that we are completely done with the appointment, that I think on my side, I'm just going to go through the lashes, brush them one more time. I'm also probably going to pull it back another time just to double check everything's good. You also see me using these little wipes with the holes in them. I'm just catching her tears when I need to. Once I was completely done, I did double check with my mirror to make sure everything was good, no stickies or anything like that. I went in with the fan to fan her first to make sure that they were completely dry, and then I went back in with my bonder. I used a lip applicator to place that onto the lashes, as you see me doing here. Make sure that you're not using a blue tape, blue marker, because as you can see, it did get on the lip applicator, and I did have to wipe it off of her skin. Then I did that on the other side as well, same method. And then once everything was done, I just made sure she was completely dry, and then I let her look at her lashes. One thing I want to talk about is also a banana peel. A banana peel is whenever you're pulling the natural lash and the extension in two opposite directions. This is one way that you can do whenever you're doing a refill, a removal, or even just coming back for the appointment and you messed up a lash and you need to take it off. Another method is the shimmy method. As you can see, I have the natural lash and then I also grabbed the extension and I just wiggled it off. Typically, you do this method whenever the lash has grown out so far up that it's not going to irritate the base to do this method. Also, I would like to add that these methods are not painful. The client will not even feel this when you're removing the lashes off.